is proud to be a pioneer in outdoor video production. We were the first to release a hunting video on the most majestic big game animal in North America, the Rocky Mountain elk. And now we are pleased to present another quality production from Stony Wolf.
Well, that's certainly a sign that'll get your attention. Hi, I'm Alan Kay, and it's my pleasure to be your host during this program. We'll explore the true nature of the bear. Is he the roly-poly clown like we see at the zoo? Or is he the devilish charging beast like we see here on the sign? Is he both, or is he neither clown or devil? These are the questions we'll answer in this program. Plus, we'll meet with bear attack victims, such as Mark Matheny, as he recreates his nightmare of horrifying experience with a grizzly bear in Montana. We'll also hear from other people who have come in contact with a bear. Their stories make us stop and wonder, just what kind of an animal are we dealing with? It's our heartfelt desire to not only help you to understand the bear, but also to help you learn how to avoid a bear attack and actually stop one.
The subject of bear attacks has the potential to mislead the public into thinking that every bear is a killer. That is simply not true. Far from being dangerous man-eaters, most bears spend much of their lives in harmony with the land, like the sow playing with her half-grown cub. Even the big males, called boars, spend much of their lives lazing around and taking life easy. In Glacier and Yellowstone National Parks, where millions of visitors flock annually, there have been only about 200 fatalities all time, but less than 10 of those were caused by bears. In fact, most bears, both grizzly and black, are very tolerant of humans and will quickly leave an area when they become aware of the presence of people. It is our intent to help you know how to deal with that rare bear confrontation so that both you and the bear will be able to walk away unharmed. But first, it's important that we understand the true nature of this animal we call the bear. In ancient Indian lore, the bear held a very special place. The constellation of stars in the form of a bear were considered by early man to be the source of all energy in the universe, which furnished both rain and food. Most Native American tribes considered the bear to be half man and half animal. No doubt this evolved from a bear's tendency to stand upright like a human when it encountered something unusual. Early Indians also believed that a bear could read their thoughts and even understand their language. So, when an Indian went out to hunt a bear, he told the entire village that he was going after a deer or an elk, but not a bear. Even when a bear was spotted, the Indian tried to confuse the bear by thinking, "I am not after this bear in front of me, I am after something else." When a bear was slain, it was the Native American custom to call it grandfather or grandmother and to apologize for having to kill it. The slain bear was reassured that it would be treated with respect by eating all of it and using its hide for clothing. A bear's true nature is often overlooked because bears are omnivores, meaning they eat both plants and meat. So a bear seen grazing peacefully on grass is often thought of as non-threatening. But watch how this grass-eating black bear suddenly turns predator when he spots a mouse scurrying by. The most disturbing trait of a bear is his unpredictability. Bears that have been approached by humans and thought to be harmless have suddenly turned aggressive for no apparent reason. Probably the most unpredictable type of bear is a female with cubs. A sow may scurry away with her cubs at the sight of a hiker one time, but then confront the next hiker who passes by. It is this unpredictable nature of the bear, more than anything else, that creates unhealthy and dangerous confrontations for man and the bear. A bear's physique tends to be short and squat, giving it the look of a slow-moving, pudgy animal. Make no mistake, a bear is a very powerful beast, fully capable of killing animals much larger than itself. Another characteristic of a bear is its surprising speed. A bear can run in short bursts up to 35 miles per hour over rough terrain. Hikers who have encountered aggressive bears have been shocked at the speed of the animal's charge.
The two main species of bear in America are the grizzly and the black bear. The grizzly is more temperamental. He's usually much larger and more powerful. While most black bears tend to run away from a human, a grizzly bear may advance aggressively when surprised by a hiker.
Today, there are approximately 800 grizzly bears in the lower states, mostly in Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. However, Canada and Alaska account for almost 35,000 grizzlies. A grizzly is identified by the large hump above its shoulders and its rounded dish-like face. A grizzly's claws are also very long, often growing 4 inches beyond its paws. The normal color of a grizzly bear is brown, though some grizzlies may be more blonde in color. A black bear tends to be smaller than a grizzly. There is no pronounced hump over its shoulders, and a black bear's head tends to be more rounded. A black bear's track lacks the long claw marks of a grizzly's track. This illustration shows how much shorter a black bear's claws are than a grizzly's. A black bear usually marks its territory by leaving claw marks on prominent trees. Most black bears are black in color, but in the West, black bears come in a variety of colors, including brown and blonde. These two black bears illustrate just how much their color phases can vary. This tendency for western black bears to come in brownish color leads to confusion for a human trying to decide whether it is a grizzly or brown-colored black bear in front of him. This bear is a good example. Its coloring is classic grizzly, with dark brown legs and lighter brown body. It even appears to have a bit of a hump over its shoulders. But upon closer inspection, its rounded head and lack of a pronounced hump proves that it is a black bear. Though grizzly bears are much more powerful and unpredictable than black bears, the black bear is much more common. Its numbers have increased greatly in recent years, with an estimated 700,000 black bears inhabiting 40 states. In fact, black bears now roam many populated states, and conflicts between bears and humans have risen sharply in recent years.
Hey, bear, get out of here. Hey, go.
In the past 30 years, black bears have injured more than 900 people.
Get out of here.
This may make the black bear appear more ferocious than the grizzly, but it is not. The large number of injuries, most of them minor, is because there are 10 times more black bears than grizzlies. Black bears are also responsible for far more property damage than the grizzly. In 1 year in Yosemite National Park, food-seeking black bears did more than $100,000 in damage to vehicles.
Though we have established the fact that bears are unpredictable, there are 4 situations that are most likely to cause a bear to attack. By knowing what these situations are, we can work to avoid them and avoid a bear attack.
The first situation occurs when a human encounters a sow with cubs. The second situation occurs when a bear is startled or surprised. The third is during mating season. And the fourth situation occurs when a human gets too close to a bear's food supply. The first situation leading to a bear attack accounts for most bear-caused injuries. Wildlife biologists have concluded that a sow grizzly defending her young is most likely to charge a human. In fact, about 80% of all grizzly attacks are caused when a hiker unknowingly moves too close to a sow with young. When this occurs and the sow is still unaware of your presence, quietly leave the area, making as little noise as possible to avoid startling the protective mother. Surprise is one of the leading causes of bear attacks. A surly, solitary bear who is startled by a hiker on a trail may run away or aggressively confront the hiker. Most injury encounters with bears occur when a person gets within 55 yards before the bear is aware of his presence. Biologists are not sure whether a startled bear charges out of fear or anger, but the documentation surrounding bear attacks is very clear that a surprised bear can become a dangerous bear. Bear mating season can also create a dangerous situation for a human in the woods. Bears don't have much to do with each other, except during mating season. At this time, bears tend to be much more aggressive as the big boars roam the land seeking a female to mate, and fights to the death often occur among these competing males. At this time, a boar tends to be frustrated and short-tempered, 2 dangerous ingredients for a human who unwittingly crosses his path. Life is hard for bears in the wild. Food always seems to be in short supply for them, so when they do locate an abundance of food, they will jealously guard it. This is especially true with grizzlies, and many bear attacks have occurred when an unsuspecting human stumbled upon a feeding bear. Sportsmen who harvest big game animals in grizzly country should be aware that the blood and gore at a kill site may attract a keen-nosed, opportunistic grizzly. Many hunters who killed game animals and returned the next morning to pack out the meat have been suddenly confronted by an aggressive bear who had claimed the kill overnight. Hunters who make a kill in grizzly country should make lots of noise as they carefully approach the carcass. They should also try to get to a vantage point where they can view the carcass from a distance to see if a grizzly is guarding it. If no bear is seen, study the carcass for obvious signs of a bear's presence, such as sticks and grass covering the carcass that the bear may have scraped over it to protect it from scavengers. If a kill site appears disturbed but no bear is seen, it's best to back off because the bear may be lying in cover nearby. A bear on a kill may refuse to back off, even when shots are fired into the ground nearby, and many sportsmen have been forced to relinquish their harvested game animal to a protective bear guarding its food supply. It is a sad fact that game carcasses left in the field resulted in 5 of 17 grizzly bear conflicts in which the grizzly had to be destroyed in the greater Yellowstone area in 1995. Smart sportsmen who harvest big game animals in grizzly country try to pack out the meat the same day of the kill, or they carry the quartered carcass to a safe spot a few hundred yards from the bloody kill site and then hang the quarters high in a tree.
While there are often mitigating circumstances surrounding a bear attack, it is still a fact that the bear is a predator at the top of the food chain.
Grizzlies eat grass and plants to survive, but they prefer meat, so they spend most of their lives roaming the land in search of prey. This grizzly seems content to graze on grass, but he has his eye on a nearby herd of elk. As the elk become accustomed to the bear's presence, they allow the grizzly to get within striking range. Finally, when the bear is confident of his chances, he charges. Several cows risk their lives as they charge the bear. Even as powerful as he is, the grizzly flees from the lethal hooves of the infuriated females. But the grizzly will not be denied his prey, and he soon returns for the wounded calf. Nature sometimes doles out its own justice, as we see when a pack of wolves arrive and drive the grizzly from his kill. Though these predators' actions seem cruel, this is nature's way of keeping animal herds from overpopulating. During the early stages of the elk calving season, grizzly and black bears take a fearful number of young animals. But in just a few weeks, the calves will be strong enough to outrun most bears. As much as we'd like to believe that a bear would not purposely advance on a human, it is a fact that certain bears have viewed humans as prey and stalked them for food. This occurs in areas where bears are actively hunting large animals as their main food source. Though it is rare for a bear to stalk a human for food, any hiker in bear country should be aware of his place in the bear's potential food chain.
It's one thing to discuss reasons why a bear may attack, but have you ever wondered what it would actually be like to experience the sudden rush of a huge grizzly bear? Montana resident Mark Matheny knows only too well what it's like to be attacked by an enraged grizzly. He stumbled upon a sow feeding on a carcass. In Mark's case, 3 out of 4 situations that lead to bear attacks were present. He surprised the bear. It was protecting its food supply, and that grizzly was a sow with 2 cubs. Mark survived, and today carries the scars as proof that a pleasant hike in the woods can suddenly turn deadly serious in bear country. His story is a sobering reminder to anyone who thinks it could never happen to them.
Hi, I'm Mark Matheny, and I was mauled by a bear 3 autumns ago, and we were just up having a nice time bow hunting, me and a friend, and it was so peaceful and nice. I feel pretty much at home up in the woods. I've spent a lot of time in the woods, and for the past 20 years hiking, hunting, fishing, mountain climbing. And when we come over a little hill, and I was in the lead, and my buddy was behind me, and we were moving out fairly quickly, but very alert, because we were hoping to maybe catch an elk on our way out, and caught a couple ravens flying out of the tree, and I went about another 15 steps and caught movement off to my left.
Fred, get your spray, it's a bear! Get out of here! She's got my head, she's killing me! Get out Get out of here!
Mark, the bear's gone.
Why didn't you spray the bear?
I sprayed the whole bottle.
Oh,
Are you all right?
she really messed my head up. Oh,
Can you walk? Or
I really felt my skull crushing.
are you sure you're all right though?
No, I don't know. I don't
Can you
know.
walk?
I don't know.
You ready to get out of? Let's get out of here. Come on, we want to talk. We want to stay loud because we don't want that bear coming back. How you doing?
Oh,
I told my friend right there how grateful I was for what he did there. I just couldn't hardly believe that I was hiking out of there, and I just could never repay Fred for what he did for me, and I'm really thankful. He had a lot of options there in that life survival situation. There's a lot of guys that would run, you know, and try to get up a tree, or he responded by getting out his spray and coming in there, and he just didn't lay down his life once for me. He laid it down twice. Gosh, you just never think that's going to happen to you, you know, that it just, those kind of things happen to other people, but I learned quite a few things. I made some serious mistakes there. One was retreating real quick and yelling, raising my voice. That just excites the whole attack. I learned, first of all, in this is to be prepared.
Even though Mark's attack was recreated for this program, it illustrates just how sudden and terrifying a bear attack can be. Mark's attack was not an isolated incident. As bear numbers increase and as the number of recreationists using bear country increase, so do stories like Mark's.
We had a bear experience over on a fog neck, and we were in a cabin one night, and she jumped up on the porch, and she rattled the porch for a couple hours and trying to get in and out of the cabin, and we took and fired a few weapons off the porch and tried to scare her away, and she wouldn't run away.
As I stepped out of the cook tent, I heard a noise right out back of the tent, and I thought it was my cook had gotten up prior to my getting her up, and I thought she was rolling the logs off of the lid that we keep over the panniers down in the ground. They're bear-proof panniers, but I stepped out the door, and when I didn't see a light, I knew I was in trouble, and I just heard a woof and smelled the breath, and the lights went out. He hit me right across the top of the head, up into my scalp, and then rolled me around, and I had several bites and claw marks all over. And doctor sewed my forehead and my scalp wounds up and area behind my ear, and just several holes that I had on my arms and on my back and my knee. And I was very lucky, and I think that the biggest thing that happened in my case that probably saved my life was being knocked out, because I wasn't fighting the bear back, and as soon as he got over being startled, he left.
There are certain basic procedures that a hiker can utilize to avoid a bear attack. Let's take a look at them.
Beautiful day, guys.
Travel in bear country requires alertness for the possible presence of a bear, attention to your environment, and knowledge of where bears may be found in the habitat you're hiking through.
On that edge, so just kind of want to keep your eyes open. Make noise, keep talking. Keep talking, that's the main thing.
Are you watching the immediate area ahead for bears? Are you noticing fresh bear signs such as droppings and tracks? Is the area ahead choked with brush where your vision is obscured? Do you know what bears in the area should be feeding on? These are questions you should have answers to as you travel through bear country to avoid surprising a bear. Generally, noise is the best way to alert a bear to the presence of humans in an area.
Yo bear! Yo bear! Yo bear!
Any hiker in bear country should make lots of noise to announce his or her presence and give a bear a chance to move off without being confronted or feeling threatened. This is especially true while hiking through brushy areas of low visibility or along rushing streams where normal hiking sounds may be muffled.
To go wandering.
Some hikers sing their favorite songs loudly while hiking in bear country.
And as I go, I love to sing my knapsack on my back.
Large bear bells can also be used to alert a bear to your presence. However, the best way to travel in bear country is in a group. Several hikers can create quite a bit of noise. Also, a grizzly bear who encounters several humans often feels intimidated even at close range and usually retreats. Knowing what and where a bear will be feeding will also help a hiker avoid a confrontation. In early spring, expect bears to be in more open areas where they will be grazing on green grass. Later in spring, bears in some areas hunt and kill upwards to 50% of the newborn before the young are strong enough to outrun them. Find out where these birthing areas are located and plan to avoid them. Expect to find bears digging for roots or rodents in the alpine country, or looking for insects in old logs or under rocks in the forest. In fall, expect to find bears feeding on acorns or berry patches. Plan to avoid these areas if you want to avoid bears. We know that any bear is a glutton for food, so it stands to reason that a smart camper would make sure that his camp is free of food odors. This camper is frying up a mess of bacon for breakfast. This smelly food should have been cooked and stored far from camp. But it's a beautiful morning, and he's anxious to take a hike, and he's about to get himself in trouble. At camp, try to cook your food about 100 yards away. Leave the smelly food, such as bacon, behind. Instead, plan to eat freeze-dried food that is easy to cook without too much odor. And cache food 100 yards from your campsite, about 18 feet up in a tree, well away from the tree trunk. One of the joys of backcountry camping is the excellent fishing found in the pristine mountain lakes and streams. However, fish odor is very attractive to bears. Always clean, store, and cook fish at least 100 yards from camp in bear country.
The best way to try to do is to lay it out in front of you.
The backcountry camper is usually conscientious about not leaving food odors at camp in bear country. But people out for a day outing along a road at the edge of the forest often make the mistake of leaving a messy picnic area because they don't think bears are found close to civilization.
In this pamphlet here I was reading, it says that we should be careful because there's bears around in this area.
Where? I don't believe it. I don't see any signs. Hey, do you hear that? Hey, where's my binoculars? I think there's something over there in that tree. Let's go have a look at it.
Are you sure we should leave this stuff there?
Oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. We'll be just right back. Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
Come on.
Okay.
Let's go. Something, wasn't it?
See, a bear must have got it. I told you that we better pick it up. That's why the Park Service makes those pamphlets.
Oh, no.
Told you we should have picked it up before we left.
What can I say?
Nothing.
Where's the bear?
Better not still be around.
Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Generally, a camp or picnic site that is free of food odors will also be free of bears. It's a sad fact that bad human practices will create bad bears and will usually sign the bear's death warrant.
Using these basic steps will help you avoid a close-range encounter. But remember, there's no foolproof method that will guarantee you'll avoid a confrontation with a bear. So what do you do when it actually happens? Through an act of fate, you find yourself face to face with a charging grizzly bear.
If you have no weapon or bear deterrent and a tree is nearby, drop your pack and climb at least 20 feet up the tree. A grizzly usually can't climb very far up a tree, and if you can get high enough up the tree before the bear gets there, you should be safe. If no tree is nearby or the grizzly is too close, another proven method is to drop down into a fetal position with knees tucked up against the stomach and hands clasped over the back of the neck. A variation of this method is to lie on your belly with hands clasped over the back of the neck. Keep your pack on your back for further protection. Some hikers who have dropped into these submissive positions have reported that the attacking bear sniffed them and walked away. At other times, a hiker was bitten and cuffed a few times, but then left alone. Some hikers have also been able to stop a bear attack by standing perfectly still or slowly backing up while being careful to avoid looking directly at the bear. In the Wild Kingdom, direct eye contact is seen as an act of aggression. The instinctive reaction of many people is to run or try to fight off a charging grizzly bear. But biologists tell us that these are the worst things to do with an aggressive grizzly and should be avoided. A bear can run surprisingly fast and reach speeds up to 35 miles per hour, and a hiker running from an aggressive bear will trigger that bear's predatory instinct. No human is a match against the tremendous power and speed of an angry charging bear. People who try to fight off a grizzly usually just make the bear madder and are most likely to receive serious injuries. If you do travel in grizzly country, imagine a few attack scenarios in your head and determine what you will and won't do for a given circumstance.
With a black bear confrontation, a hiker should react differently. Most black bear attacks on humans tend to be more predatory.
Studies have shown that people who have acted aggressive and fought off a black bear that was about to prey on them usually escaped without serious injury. With a predatory black bear, taking a submissive position only invites the bear to continue with the attack.
Oh, oh, no, no, get out of here. No, no.
However, a submissive attitude should be taken with an aggressive sow black bear with cubs. In this situation, the bear is protecting its young and usually is not interested in preying on the person.
It used to be a submissive attitude was the only way to counter a grizzly bear attack. It's not anymore. Today, there are bear deterrents that people have used with success to stop even the most aggressive bears.
After Mark Matheny recovered from his mauling, he searched for a way to stop a sudden grizzly charge. After much testing, Mark developed a powerful bear deterrent using a 10% solution of cayenne pepper, which many users said stopped a charging bear in its tracks and sent it away gasping for breath and pawing at its eyes. And the nice thing about pepper spray is that it has no lasting effects on the bear. In about an hour, the bear will have fully recovered from the effects of the spray and will probably avoid humans as a result of this adverse encounter.
This bear was coming at me with a full charge. His mouth was wide open, and I waited till he was about 20 feet, and I started spraying him. And I never seen anything charge so fast but stop so fast.
I stepped out on the porch and shot her on the nose point blank, and we never saw the bear again for the rest of the hunting season.
Is that right? So it worked for you?
It worked for me. It
Uh-huh.
does work, especially at close range, and the cayenne pepper stays a long time. I'm sure she didn't forget about it for quite a while.
Me and my team have been using pepper spray for the last 4.5 years, ever since we deal with bears. We find that that's the most effective close-in deterrent for black bears. We've been charged by them in full force. They've never come through the fog. They always turn when they get a good whiff of this stuff. It's very effective, safe for the bear. It doesn't kill the bear, so the bear doesn't kill you, obviously. So you're able to do it without destroying the animal using pepper spray.
Non-hunters would ride into camp and they'd see firearms hanging everywhere, shotguns and that sort of thing. And that wasn't putting out a good image for us as far as saying that we didn't want to harm a bear, but yet we had all of that around, because at that time that was all we had. And now that we don't, I don't even bother to keep a shotgun in the kitchen anymore or anything like that, because we can do so much more with the pepper spray.
That's well.
Let's watch now as Mark demonstrates how to correctly use pepper spray.
I felt that the pepper spray was used in saving my life, and so I didn't want that to happen to myself again, and if I could help prevent that from happening to anyone else out there, it's all worth it to me. And so I started designing holsters, and it's a holster where it's right here, it's flexible. You won't lose your can by pulling out. So I wanted something that I could shoot right now, right from the holster, if I have to. If you get startled, you turn around and you have to shoot. This is an inert can. It does not have the pepper. The real stuff has the orange, reddish type look out there. This holster, I also wanted to tie on the safety clip so people don't lose those. It's a little thing that we do that can be a big problem. If you lose that safety clip, they can get knocked off of there, and then you just bump that and you can spray yourself. And when that bear is coming at you and he's coming fast, and you're hiking along here, folks, and you're looking around and you come over a little knoll and here's a bear and boom, she's on you, you gotta respond. You gotta react quickly. And you can be shooting this right from the holster and be pulling at the same time. This is not going to hurt that bear. All it's going to do is just going to reframe its mind from what it was doing, and it's going to want to get into cleaner air. It wants to get its sense of smell back, and you are protecting yourself. Okay, you're hiking along. You got a bear. It's out there 40 yards and coming at you. It's charging you. Don't wait until it's within this 30-foot range to start spraying that bear. That bear is going to be there in about 2 to 3 seconds. You get your spray out there ahead of time and just spray it for about 1-2 seconds and back off and let him run into it, because he's going to be there running into that fog. And most of the time, that's enough to deter him right there. They hear that hissing, they run into that, and of course you'll be shooting him again there with the pepper if he's still coming, but that deters him a lot of the times. That creates kind of a barrier. Well, folks, I hope in some way that this may help you out there and maybe even save a life, or going through the attack that I did. I really do believe that wisdom is better than strength, so be prepared.
Aggressive bears aren't the only wildlife species that pepper spray can deter. An overpopulation of mountain lions and increased competition for prey in the western states has forced some lions to move close to rural dwellings and act aggressive toward humans. Many attacks and several fatalities have occurred in recent years. A shot of pepper spray in a lion's face is not only a safety measure, but it will also provide adverse human conditioning for the lion. A cow moose is another animal that can become aggressive toward humans. A bull elk and rut can also become aggressive toward humans. Obviously, this photographer could have used a deterrent spray against this overly aggressive rutting bull elk. But we should always remember that the best way to avoid an attack is to avoid getting into a potentially dangerous confrontation in the first place. To make your travel in the wild safer, here are a few more situations to avoid. Don't approach or harass wild animals. Don't hike in areas where bears are congregating. Don't camp near berry patches, active bear trails, or fish spawning streams. Don't sleep on the ground without a tent. A tent will offer some security from a bear passing through in the night. Don't sleep in clothes saturated with food odors. Don't store horse pellets or grain near camp. Don't wear cologne, perfume, or any other sweet-smelling lotions. Don't cook too much food in camp because leftovers will attract bears. Don't store food in your tent. Don't dump grease or food scraps near camp. Don't leave food unattended in bear country, even at picnic areas near civilization. Don't allow children to become separated from the group, and always keep them in sight. Don't allow dogs to roam free while hiking in bear country.
Along with the wilderness nature of the bear comes its unpredictable and aggressive personality when surprised or disturbed. More than any other factor, adverse publicity of grizzly bear attacks has caused the public to overreact with fear, and along with it comes the desire to rid the wilderness of this great bear. The grizzly bear is a vital part of the wilderness experience. We want the wilderness wild. And as long as the bear roams the land, we can rest assured that the land and the grizzly bear will remain untamed.
Stony Wolf Productions Nature Series takes an in-depth look at the animals that live in the wild lands of America. These videos explore the secret lives of many seldom seen wild animals and will be enjoyed by young and old alike. Call or write to Stony Wolf Productions for a free catalog.